Hey guys, welcome to my video. So during this coronavirus we got going on here, a lot of people are not driving and their car batteries are going dead because they're not driving them. You know, all the little systems, the computers and everything are still working, and you know, if you don't drive your car in a couple weeks, you're gonna have a dead battery. Now this is what it sounds like when you have a dead battery. You get like a clicking noise. So I'm gonna try to start my car up. So we'll look at the dash for a minute, put my key in the ignition, and listen really close. Hear that clicking noise? Let me turn everything off. That is your starter solenoid. Oh my God, I got the radio blasting. Too many other things on. Alright, so listen for this clicking noise. I can't tell you how many people I've had over the years. They hear that clicking noise and they're like, oh, I must need a new starter. I must need a new alternator. That clicking noise means you're not getting enough voltage to your starter to make it crank. Alright, so here we are at our battery. We got our positive. Got a little plus symbol for positive. Usually got a red wire to it. But don't get overconfident about the red wire. I've seen both wires be black before. Look for the positive. And this side we have negative. Alright, so they're very safe. I can go across with my hands, but don't ever have a piece of metal go from one side to the other. You'll have a fire or possibly even an explosion. We got these vents. Hydrogen gas can come out of those and you get a spark by them. You can actually have something dangerous. You can have an explosion occur. So my battery's dead. I have this battery pack over here made by Schumacher. Tony Schumacher, actually a great guy. Used to come to the school and visit me. He used to come by with the race car. Being I'm not trying to sponsor like a commercial for him, but just a guy that was very kind to me. Let me be a crew member a couple times. But this is a great product that he's got here. It's a jump box. It's got USB connectors. It's got a little port if you need to like hook up maybe a drill to it. It's got an air pump if your tire goes low, and it's also got the capability to jump start your car. They're usually a little bit over $100, but this can come really in handy during like a blackout situation. So you have this battery pack, you turn it on, you put your USB in, keeps your phone charged, whatever. You know, it's good. Maybe you can even has enough to keep your laptop charged, so you still have communication with the outside world. It's got a little LED light on it. But what we're going to use it for today is jump starting my car. Once the car's running, we're going to use this object right here, which is called an alternator. Turns alternating current into direct current to charge your battery. So if you guys are ever driving and your battery light comes on while the car's running, usually means that this alternator has stopped working. It's stopped charging our battery. So we're going to hook up our jump box right now and see if we can get this car to turn over. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn it on. Should come up with 12 volts, at least 12 volts. And it's pretty simple. All I have to do is hook this red wire to here. Now, if I feel like my car has been discharged, I don't have to hook this up to my negative on the terminal if I'm scared about making a spark and possibly have an explosion. What I could do is I can hook this to anything metal on the engine block. Like what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up to this bolt right here. And the reason why this works is these two black wires here are actually bolted to the body of the car. That's where they go. We got one wire that goes right here and it's connected to the metal body of the car. It makes the whole metal body the ground circuit. This one here goes to our engine block, which makes every metal object on our engine block ground. Okay, so let me set this up and see if our car runs. Alright, so our car started. And if we look right on our box, see the voltage jumped out. It's got a built-in voltmeter. It's showing 14.4 volts. So what that is telling me is that my alternator is working, that my alternator is good. It's just a really quick way with this tool to check to see if your alternator is good. When I shut the car off, we're actually going to see battery voltage again. So when I shut it off, it should go back to 12. Now what I would do in this case is I would just have my car run for a while and then see if it starts up again, because it could have been something left on. Like in the school system, what I usually used to have was kids would come to school and they'd leave their dome light on, or they'd leave something on in the morning because it would be dark, and then after school they'd go to start their car and the car would be dead, and I'd lend them the jump box. Well, we're going to do what's called a load test. I'm going to try to find my tester in the garage, and we're going to load test this battery and see if it's any good. Okay, so now we're back and we're going to do a test on the battery. I'll let the car run for 10 minutes and we're going to see if the battery's good, if it took a charge. Now what this has got, it's got a gauge that goes from 0 volts all the way up to 16 volts. When the car's running, it should be in that green okay, letting us know that our alternator's good. When the car's off, it should be somewhere between 12 and 12 and a half, so the upper part of that good, the higher part of there. When I load test it, I usually hold it for 5 seconds and it shouldn't go below the 9.5 mark. What's inside this tool here is a heating grid, which is when I hit this load switch is going to cause voltage to go through, and in amps, it's going to, actually a lot of amps, it's going to pull a draw on the battery, and you know, usually anything below like 9.5 volts is no good. Alright, so let me hook up my my tester. I'm going to put my ground to my ground over here, and then I'm going to wind up putting my positive cable on my positive, and we have about 12.7 volts. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see, it's all twisted. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this load tester, and I'm going to wind up holding that for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it didn't go below 10 volts, so that's letting me know that my battery is good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to test the alternator. I'm going to start it up, and we should see this needle jump to the green mark. So I'm going to put this in a safe spot. So I might have to adjust the camera. What I'm looking for is this black needle here to jump into the green when I start it. Now if you look, we're right at 14.5 volts, which means our alternator is working. Now on a side note, this alternator is really easy to replace. I guess you can see it's nice and new. Probably about 2 months ago, I needed an alternator and my daughter was bored, and I'm like, hey, Brianna, how about we go outside and put an alternator on my truck? And I'm like, I'll show you how to do it. So I gave her all the tools, I told her what to loosen up, and she did a great job. And my alternator works. So guys, yeah, you should watch some videos. Some car repairs are really easy, and I'm going to try to videotape a bunch of them so you guys can learn from me.